Okay, let's give this a shot. We're going to come in with our UTC 140 denier yellow. Start the thread about 1/3 along the hook shank. Capture our thread and come on back to about the hook point and the barb. About right there. Grab your shears, cut your extra thread free. Careful not to cut your line doing it, as you saw right there. And we'll come back, cover that up, reinforce it. Come on back. And we're going to take a piece of 2mm yellow foam. I believe I pre-cut these to about 2 3/4 inches, and then I cut a little wedge at the back, and we'll show you what that wedge does. Come in and lay it, take the corner right there and kind of line it up at the end of my thread. Then I come around and I capture it, cinch down, come back, capture it again, cinch down, capture it, cinch down. And this is going to start making the body of the fly that we're making. Get that to focus again. There we go. And then bound that down tight. That's why we're using that 140 denier thread. And you want the tip here to line up, tip of your foam to line up where the final tie-in spot's going to be in the midsection of our bug. So come on back to where you were, and then you can kind of see here where it's going to wrap up. If you got some thread sticking out the back and that bothers you, and I don't really like how far back that body's going to tie in, so I'm going to come back, grab another section of foam, tie it down, and now when that foam bends back over, that's going to look more proportional to what we want. So then, pull our thread down, or grab a little bit of, see if that'll focus, Cascade Crest Tools Master Bright. There we go. Iridescent fibers, it's a synthetic that just dubs up really nicely. Right there it is, right there. Real iridescent, real buggy, and because it's plastic tinsel, it dubs like a dream. So we're going to take a small little piece, and by small, I mean just a little bitty piece like that. There'll be dub here around the camera. I'm dubbing it off screen for space purposes, but I'll push it back up here. We're going to end up with about a 2 to 3 inch long dubbing noodle. Get that all twisted on there nicely here. There we go. And if you got a few stray fibers, it does not really matter. Fish don't care. It just comes down to how you're going to show it to your fishing buddies. So we start taking a few wraps here, kind of helicoptering it around the camera. There we go. And we're going to get that to line up to about where we're going to want our midpoint on a fly to bead. If you have some extra dubbing, just spend it right there. Take another loop. There we go. There's going to be our thorax. We're going to bring this foam over like so, and we're going to capture it right there at that midpoint. I like to give it a little squeeze. 1, 2, pull it down, start cinching it. That brings it around and cups it around the thorax. Boom, boom, boom. That's captured. Give it a little tweak, center it up, and again, any stray fibers, you can pick them out, cut them off later on when we're done with the fly. So then what we're going to do is we're going to take this, give it another pinch so that foam starts to cup to the hook shank. We're going to come all the way up to about the hook eye. Okay, straighten up, come back again. We're going to compress that foam. It's going to give us a little more floating capabilities on the fly. And we're going to cover this up with our next series of dubbing. So come on in, compress it, catch that foam on there, tweak it if you have to keep everything on the up and up. And oh, seems here we got something captured back there, and of course it would do that while we're filming, but a little piece of dubbing thread, it gets caught, just pop it. There you go. little piece of deer hair hanging out on the fly bench. So then once that's done, you've captured all of it, you kind of check that your hook eye is clear. That's where it's going to come back around. All right, come on back to this point. And we got a couple things that we're going to tie in here. Okay, so make sure that stays nice and focused for us. I've gone ahead and I've stacked some deer hair in my stacker. Here's my deer hair that I'm using. It's just a natural deer hair. You see I've been cutting a whole bunch of it off. Cut off a little, not quite as thick of as a pencil, but a good little bunch. You stick it in your hair stacker here. Tap, tap, tap. And when you take it out, all your tips should be aligned. Then you grab them out of there. Now this is way too much hair for what we want, but we're going to take it and place it up against our bug here. And we're going to try to get our proportions right. So I've gone ahead and kind of measured about to the end of the hook. I take that and pinch, find about where it'd end up with the rest of that foam. Transfer it to your other hand, grab your shears, give it a nice blunt cut with your shears, where you're going to end up with all your little pieces and parts right there. And we're going to lay them in right there on top of the fly. And then we're going to capture it. Now the trick is on deer hair, don't cinch down right away because all those pieces and parts want to lift up. Come in with a few loose wraps, capture it, and then you can kind of cinch. At this point, I'll come in here with my shears and I will clean up that head because we don't want a whole bunch there. Be a little too bulky. And your thread's not tight yet, so don't get too crazy with it. There we go. But that's going to add some bulk, but we're also going to cinch it down here coming up. So hold your hair, and then as you start coming out some more, kind of just capture them all so they don't fray everywhere, and then come back in with some tighter wraps to cinch down that hair. And once you do that, your hair is going to stand up all proud like that, which is great. We'll kick it back down with our foam wing case when we get to it. But there's that nice and big and buggy. And let me see if I can get y'all to see how proud that is. Big old wing case just like that. And then I've taken one strand from some silly legs from White River, silly legs, barred, yellow, gold, black. And here's what they look like. Got this beautiful gold flake and barred silly legs. I love them. Really good action, good price point. They're not the most durable, however, so be gentle with them. I've taken one strand there, cut it in half, then cut that half in half again. Gives you 4 legs that are going to be about the right size and dimensions for this fly, with a couple of adjustments as you go on. What I do is I pull my thread down, I grab these legs, I just come over the top like so, use the weight of the bobbin to keep everything where it needs to be, bring it back, give it one more to capture them, and then I do all my fine tuning. And I want about 1/3 in the front, 2/3 in the back, about like so. And then I'll give it one more wrap, 2 more wraps. That way those legs are there, but they're not tight wraps, so you can still move the legs as you're going about. And then do the same thing with these two by coming to the other side. And I just kind of place them up on top. One more loose wrap, and then I can come back down, put them where they need to be on the other side. And then I start playing with them. I'll grab one's too far forward, pull it back. This is where the durability comes into play. Silly legs, don't yank on them. They're not going to take it. But it's their action in the water is worth dealing with them. And their price point. You get a lot of legs, a lot of good looking legs for not a lot of money. Come back and just put it right there where I want them. Now I got these legs splayed out here. Legs in the front are sticking almost at a right angle from the fly. I like that. I like those proud legs sticking out. And then what we're going to do is we're going to come to the front of the fly here towards the hook eye. Have our thread waiting on us, and we're going to put on another little piece of dubbin. And that's going to be our front section, and whatever dubbing you used on the first part of this fly on the back, use just a little less because we're not covering as much surface area here. But again, this Mastercraft synthetic dubbing, it dubs like a dream. No wax, no nothing. I was able to make a nice neat noodle. And bring your noodle up, and we will start dubbing this little fly. 1, 2, nice touching wraps. 3, I like to pull everything back so I can use up the rest of my dubbing. Ends right there in the middle. I bring this head back like so, and then we're going to capture it. So 1, tight, pull straight down, come on back, pull up, pull back, pull down, pull forward, pull up. And by pulling on all the rotations, I'm getting a nice cinch. And boom, there we go. And then I like to take my whip finish tool right here and give it a whip finish. About 4 or 5 turns. That feels about right. So I come in here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Boom, cinch it, pull it down, nice and tight. What you can also do is just take your fingers and do a little twirl, and then bring it down, and then use that for your loops. But if you have a whip finish tool, it's fun to use it. Might as well. But take this, give it 1, 2, 3, 4 tugs. That way that knot's nice and tight. Come on in here, cut it loose. Now we got our wing case. And depending on how you like your fly to look, you leave a long wing case, leave a short wing case. I go for kind of a medium short wing case. Come in there, give it a cut, and then you can do any doctoring that you need to do. Take a look at your fly, make sure it's sitting, mostly level. Pick all your stuff out. Then on my rubber legs here, make sure y'all are looking at the same thing I'm looking at. There we go. I like to even them up a little bit. I'll just figure out which one's the longest. Cut it. Count shorter, longer, sticking out. And then my legs here in the back, I just make sure that they are pointing where I want them. It looks like my whip finish made one of them stick a little too far out that way. Give it a little poke and prod. Kind of coax them to go the right way. There we go. And there we go. We have a Llano Bug. Pretty proud wing case. I tie them a little sparser than this too to make my deer fur last a little longer. But sometimes they really key in on that wing case. This is a size 6 Sproat hook by Mustad. Comes in a box of 100. I really like them. Size 6 seems to be the sweet spot. Size 8, it's a little too small for this pattern. Size 4 is just a big version that does work well in late summer when bigger grasshoppers are getting eaten. But here's my yellow version, which is my go-to. I tie it in olive, tan, all that kind of stuff. And you can then match your legs, dubbing, and elk hair, deer hair to whatever you're tying. But it's a great topwater fly. Depending on what foam you use, you can adjust if it sits proud on top of the water because of its buoyancy. Or if you use a little cheaper foam, it might want to sink kind of in that surface layer. Sometimes one works better than the other. And another habit I have is tying these on size 6 Mustad saltwater hooks right here. I like the little extra beefiness to this hook. You get this thing up in a tree or a branch, and if you have a strong enough leader, this hook's not going to bend. You're going to pop it out of that tree and keep on fishing. And just really like these hooks. Good price point, good hook. So anyway, this was tied for Walter Lee with Project Healing Waters out of Kerrville. And I hope this fly catches y'all a bunch of fish. I know it's caught me a bunch of fish, and I just wanted to share with y'all. Thank you.